So, Shriji, when you finished this coaching program, so that was in your second year, right? So, how did you get the opportunity at LinkedIn, and how was your experience as an intern in your third year at LinkedIn?
Yeah. So through coaching only. So the one of the perk of coaching was that they provide this internship opportunity. So
Yeah,
you have to go through the interviews. So the only first step, right, that resume shortlisting step, that was done for us because
yeah, hmm.
we got the coaching. But other than that, there was a DSA round, then there was an interview, and after that, like DSA interview, and then HR round. So
Yeah,
all those three interviews happened, and in the first round, so I'm just talking about like the process a bit.
yeah,
So in the first round, there were three questions, three DSA questions, one easy, but one medium and one hard. So like lead code reference. So that was there, and then in the interview, they asked me a medium difficulty question. But the main thing, like the highlight of that interview was how in depth the interviewer went regarding the particular data structure I was using. So at that point, I realized like a very big lesson for me was that you should not just know the solution, like okay, this is the question, this is the solution. You should also know that why we are doing or why we are solving this question in this particular way,
hmm.
and why specifically we are using this data structure or no, and not some other data structure, right?
Correct.
And obviously about the time complexity, space complexity, you should be thorough with your concepts, and like you should just not have the bookworm sort of a knowledge, but you should actually know. So that interview, it was like for 45 to 50 minutes, and that actually went for 1.5 hours, because that interviewer was so intrigued to know that why am I using this particular data structure and not the simpler version of it. So I had to go through it. So the communication also plays a very big role. Like, are you able to articulate things properly? Is it landing? Is the interviewer understanding what you are saying? So that interview was a very different experience, as to say. So yeah, that happened, and then the HR round happened, like very standard process. And
Yeah.
then after clearing all the rounds, I got the internship. Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically standard round. So the only thing you mentioned was it was probably in depth, and particularly in depth for the third year or second year student, because mostly you go as you proceed through your years, the interview gets tougher. So it's very important not to have the bookish knowledge, like she mentioned, for time complexity. Like it's not, how we prepare for the Viva, we just remember everything like 5 seconds before the Viva, and the Viva person is also impressed. Yeah, he knows the time complexity, he knows everything, but you have to go a bit into the details, and like she mentioned, communication plays an important role. So how was your first day at LinkedIn, like, and yeah, how was it, like, how did you take everything in, because it's, from college life to corporate life, it's a pretty huge gap.
Yeah, it was like a very different thing for me, and it was a virtual internship because, again,
Oh,
because of
okay,
the
yeah,
COVID.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, but even though it was virtual, I could sense the warmth. Like, like my team was very supportive. They were like very knowledgeable people around me, right? And like whenever so every intern has this mentor, right? So so that mentor is everything to you basically. So whenever
yeah,
I used to go to him, he is very like sweet, supportive, and he never made me feel inferior. And from the very first, so I would say this, that even though I was an intern, they like gave us like good projects. At least at that time, I felt like it was like good complex work, and not something like, okay, she's an intern, we'll just give her something, filler sort of a stuff. It was like good work. And I remember there was this one project that they were like trying to, that like do from scratch. And the first block, I was the person who did the first building block sort of a thing. So it was a sense of achievement also, because when you are in college and then you're working for this very reputed company, and you are actually doing things that are impactful. So
correct,
it was very motivating, and like you like working in such an environment and for
yes,
such a motive. So that was there, and even my manager was really nice, and everyone just like never. I felt like they never like treated me like an intern. Like I felt like I was a part of the team, although
Yeah.
I didn't used to understand what was going on in the stand-ups, and I was just waiting for my turn, that okay, I'll give my updates, and I really didn't understand what other was saying. But still, they used to make me participate in everything. And also apart from the project, my mentor used to guide me, like, in stand-ups you should give updates like this, and not just like what you did, but you should also tell about your blockers, and what you're going to do next, or what you have tried. So those things now only will come from someone who is experienced or is working.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not everyone will guide you in such a way, but yeah, there over there people are genuinely very sweet, and the culture is very nice. And specifically there's this one thing, like in days. So in days is like every third Friday. So basically once a month they have this day off, and in which there are a lot of activities scheduled, like you can participate in anything and socialize. Basically it's you take a day off from work intentionally, and
Yeah.
do something else, socialize with people, or just take care of yourself. And that makes like it's like that makes the workplace so much better. Like, it's not just about work but also about something else.
Yeah.
So like, the internship experience was incredible. And we also had this 2 days in office event. So we went for 2 days to visit the office in Bangalore. And when they gave us the office tour and we met our teams, they had this lunch prep organized for us. So everything was so organized, and then you finally get to meet those people who you were seeing on the screen. So it was like a really nice experience. Like, it was so thoughtful on their part. So yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. It must be fun, especially coming from college, because in college, there are some good professors, but there are some other, condescending sort of professors that really want to show you your place. But it's fun to go to a place where it actually is pretty much you feel welcomed, you feel like a family. Let's now dive into Google. What was the interview process, right? There's a lot of videos on the net. There's like some people say that there's 6 rounds starting from the telephonic round all the way to the HR or HR plus managerial round, and it is pretty much a hard interview to crack in that sense because there are a lot of talented engineers coming from top colleges. There are some coming from not so known colleges, and you have to compete with them as well, and you also have to stand out like you mentioned earlier in the podcast. Your resume must stand out. You must stand out because I think nowadays 99% of the resumes are Jake Ryan's resumes, so they must be tired of seeing that same format, same
Yeah.
projects. Some people have an Instagram clone. Now it's less prevalent, but maybe 2 to 3 years back that was probably more
Yeah.
prevalent, where Instagram clone or a to-do list or something like that. So what were the rounds? First, just can you list down the rounds that were there?
Okay, so for me, the process was a bit different because okay, so since I applied in for STEP internship,
Yeah.
and then also I applied in SWE internship. So I gave interviews for SWE internship as well. And in between, I also used to give these Kickstart, Code Jam, these contests, right? So I am not sure like on what basis they shortlisted me, but I just assume that they had a lot of data, and I have interviewed with them twice.
Yeah.
So basically, there was this drive in which they shortlisted a few candidates and for them there was no OA round. There were directly interviews. So I for and this I'm talking for off campus
Yeah.
opportunity. So I applied for off-campus full-time role, and then I got a mail that we are doing some special hiring or special, basically, selection process, initial selection process, and they have chosen some candidates. I'm still not sure of the criteria of them shortlisting certain candidate, but I just assume that. So basically, I didn't go through any OA round in that, and for me, there were directly interviews. So for in the interviews first there was like one interview schedule, one DSA round, and then I guess after 2 3 days there was supposed to be second interview round,
Yeah.
DSA based.
Yeah.
So my first round happened, and that the interviewer asked me like two questions. So both were like, I guess first question was medium and then second was lead code hard. So because I solved like the medium one pretty quickly, so then he jumped to the second question, and that was a bit harder. So though there were two questions in that round, and immediately, like when that round got over, immediately like after an hour I got a mail that my second round is scheduled for the next day, and instead of like 2 3 days. So second round happened the next day. Again, I was asked this one question and the follow-up on that question. So that was also DSA. And yeah, the topics that I was asked were, one was graph, other was heap queue, and I guess there was trees also. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, there was no DP. Like many students ask, like, will there be DP? So in internship, they specifically don't ask you DP questions,
Yeah.
but full time they do ask. But yeah, for me it didn't happen. But yeah, there were other topics from which they asked me questions. So those two rounds happened, and so they don't tell you, right, that okay, you have cleared this round, and that's why we are taking your third round. So
Yeah.
it was not like that. And then the third round was HR round, in which we call it like Googliness round.
Yeah.
So
Googliness round. Yep.
yeah, so in that she asked me like, okay, yeah, in that also it was DSA plus HR. So first
Yeah.
she asked me one DSA question, and then the normal behavioral question. So, and in behavioral question, I would like to mention that it's not very easy if you just feel like, okay, I'll just say something sweet, sweet, nice, nice, like politically correct thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, for me specifically, I really was telling her things based on my past. Like if she was asking me like the question she asked me was, if your team, like you are leading a project and you have a team, and if your team is not cooperating with you, then how you will go ahead with the project, and what will you do, this and that. So I actually gave a real example from my college time, like when we were doing a project together and things were not working out.
Yeah.
So at that time you cannot really make stuff. So that is very important, to be authentic in that round, to do not just like fake things up, because they can catch it very nicely, very easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just be very casual, authentic. And before that full time interview with Google, I gave two more interviews, right? For one first step, and the other was internship.
Yeah.
So, and I faced rejection in both of them. So when actually the full time opportunity came, I somewhere made my peace with it, that it's not going to happen. Like Google is not for me. I literally was like that. And I gave those interviews in a very chill manner. Like, not confidential, but I was not desperately looking for an outcome this time. So, my interviews were more like a discussion, rather than, I'm very nervous and
Yeah. I'm trying
I'm
too
stressing
hard.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying too hard. I'm trying to write comments in my code to make it clean. It was literally like a very nice casual discussion with a colleague who are brainstorming on the same
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
uh, so that actually was a very different thing, because many people take interviews too seriously, and obviously it makes sense.
Yeah.
But when you just like very natural and very so of you, like you just try to communicate like how you're going to solve this and this and that.
Yep.
So it is like good, like you should try this, like just go and try to answer the question just like that.
Yeah. So it could be kind of like a podcast, right? Like how we're communicating, right? The difference would be they might be discussing some questions, we're discussing your journey, but they're also interested in your journey. So I think that would also be a common point, right? They must be interested, at least in the HR and manager round, to see what kind of person we are interviewing, how they're doing. And this is something I covered in the last podcast as well, a similar story. And I encountered a similar story as well. So I was giving my MBA exam recently, like for MHCT MBA. So in that I like filled the form like one day before the deadline. I didn't know the syllabus, anything like that, and then I prepared for like 30-40 days. And like you mentioned, right, you thought that you weren't going to do good. The same thing happened with me before the exam. I was like, people have given cat and all of that, they've been prepping for a good 5 to 6 months, or some people have even been prepping for more than 1 year. So how will I do well? Like, so then my mindset was like the same as you, that I'll just go for it. I'm not desperate. I'm not expecting any outcome from it. But it actually turned out to be a good exam for me. So I got like 99 plus percentile in that. So it was pretty good. So like same with you. And there's this podcast with Harsha Bhogle. I'll attach it again. So he's like this famous cricket commentator. He's done like his MTech at IIT, and he's also done an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. So then he had a similar story when he was giving gate. He just gave it for fun. His friends were very desperate for it. He just gave it for fun. He had a couple of other options, and then he cleared that. He got into IIT. And when he went to IM, he wanted this role. He was very desperate. Like, I feel like you must have been desperate as well, because people are like, when you're interviewing for the first time with Google, it or you have to be desperate. Like, a lot of people are. It's something that is very common, right? So the same thing happened with him. He was very desperate, and then he flunked the interview. It went very bad. And then they called him. They were like, okay, we could, it's fine that you flunked the interview, but we'll let you in on the promise that you won't give such a horrible interview, because we have never taken such a horrible interview. So then he got in. So like similar story with you. And I think it's a good thing that you mentioned that, because at the end of the day, the performance in the interview matters. The interviewer won't really care, and they can't care about what this person, how much this person has granted. The only way for them to understand that is through the interview. So they can only judge you within that 1 hour or half an hour period of time when you're with them.
Also, I would like to mention that you should be very communicative. Like,
Yeah,
think out loud. Like, if you are even stuck, just say that I'm stuck. Give me 2 minutes to think, and even after that, whatever you are thinking, just speak. Because now, when I'm on the other side of the table and I take interviews, I
correct,
see candidates who don't speak at all, and I cannot help them if they are not speaking, because we are genuinely there to help them out. We are not there to reject everyone. We want to take the best person, right?
correct,
So, and it's possible because you are giving, it's like a, like a big thing for, like, you are giving Google interview, and then it's possible that you are just stuck at a very small thing, and if you just get that one minor help, you will go with
be
the
able to
rest
solve
of
the
the.
question. Yes,
Yeah, exactly. So just be very like, say what you're thinking, whatever you're feeling, just speak. Because my interviewer was literally like, do you want to have water? You can have water, then we'll start the interview. He was
yeah,
very chill, and that's how even I try to take interviews now. Like, I try to make them comfortable first, and then go on with the interview. But that should be a two-way thing, and not
correct.
just from
It
the
shouldn't be just
interviewer
on the
side.
interviewer side for
Yeah.
doing that.
So whoever will like, I hope many people watch this. So take this one piece of advice. Try to give a lot of mock interviews, and see and record them, and see how you are doing. Like, see yourself, how you are communicating. Are you looking a lot like, I say, niche dekh ke, and you are not able to make an eye contact with the interviewer? Are you, do you feel that you are underconfident? Because communication matters a lot. So that, like, even as I said, even if you know the solution, if you're not able to articulate it well, there is no point.
Correct. And it's also important for them to know that even if you're stuck, because you have to gauge the person as well, right? You can't just
Yeah.
look at the person's face and tell whether he's really smart or something like that. So it has to be a two-way thing. And I feel like if we shouldn't treat it like an interview, it should be more of like a discussion, like you mentioned that. Because Google
Yeah,
also,
like,
they want to hire you, right? It's not that they're out there to reject
exactly.
everyone.
I recently took an interview, and that person was not able to solve it at first,
Yeah,
and he was going in completely different direction, which was like, completely wrong. And I just told him this, that I don't think you are going in the right direction. Do you want to rethink? He did that. He took the feedback, and then he solved the question like in the most optimized way, and all by himself. And I gave him a like higher, like at least from
Yeah.
my perspective, it was like a good, because you are taking the feedback. After that feedback, you are able to solve the question
Solve the question. Yeah.
perfectly. So it's good. So even if you're stuck and if you think that, okay, I screwed this up in the first 10 minutes, no, you still have remaining 30 minutes, you can make it up.
Yeah. It's like the game is not over till the whistle blows, right? And yeah,
Yeah.
it's so you can't like quit initially. And I think in the company at the end of the day, it's always like that, right? You communicate with the client, you take feedback from the client, you take feedback from your managers, and you change. And if you have that adaptability, I think you'll be a good hire anyways, because technology is gonna change, the tech stack's gonna change, the language is gonna change, everything's gonna change. Nothing is consistent, but your ability to take feedback and learn from that, that is something that has to be consistent in you, for which you can basically get hired. Oh, how was your first day at Google? Like in the Ananta's office at Bangalore, like a lot of people feel like it's a good experience anyway, because the office is big. You're happy that you got into Google. And before we dive into your first day, I wanted to talk about the story. I think you had put it on LinkedIn or something. Your selection story. I think you had mentioned that your mother was praying or something like that. You're reading the Hanuman Chalisa or something like that, and then you got that offer. So if you want to cover that, because I feel like in the podcast it's very important to cover the family aspect of things as well, because at the end of the day they are the support system and they must be given some sort of credit in um, getting you to succeed in
Yeah,
your interview.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, like no questions. So yeah, so it was like, as I said, that since it was an off-campus opportunity, so it happened in my sixth sem, right? So it was basically like, so I remember my interview was on, I guess, 20th July,
Yeah.
like around that time in July. So I gave that interview like 2 days and I was done. Like I completely forgotten that I gave Google interview. Like seriously, it was out of my head because I was not expecting anything. I
Anything,
was
correct.
literally not expecting. Yeah, so I completely forgotten about it. And then we were going to the college. So it was like first day of the fourth year, and we were traveling. Like I was with my parents with all that luggage because first day of the
Yeah, yeah,
college.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I was like a hostler. My hometown was a bit far,
yeah.
so we're going there. And then I just got the mail, like we were in the cab, and I got the mail that congratulations, you got selected in Google. At first I was like, this is fake,
This is
this is
they
not
send
true.
it to the
So
wrong person.
exactly. So I read it, like, is it even genuine? And then everything was genuine, and I was like, okay, I gave the interviews. So I started calling the recruiter. Like there was
Yeah,
this
yeah,
star, right? So I
yeah,
started calling her. Then I asked the cab driver to lower down the volume, and my heartbeat was so fast, and I was sweating. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with me? So then I was calling her, and it was busy. And then my father was like, what happened to you? And then I showed him that I got this mail. And he was also like, this is fake. I always get this. Like, he also couldn't believe. He was like,
yeah,
I always get these messages that you won a lottery of 2 lakh rupees.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That. And then that recruiter called me back, and it was like fine. So my mother was reading Hanuman Chalisa, and my father and I were discussing that this is fake. And then recruiter called me back, and she was like, no, no, you are actually selected, this and that. And when that happened, then I told my mother that, mom, I got
yeah,
selected in Google. She didn't stop. She literally didn't stop. She just kept reading Hanuman Chalisa till the very last word. And once it's done, then she was like, congratulations, I'm very proud of you, this and that. Like,
yeah,
and till date, it's like that. Like, if it's my promo, like if she knows that, I'm like aiming for something, or if I'm trying to get something, she will pray for me every single day in that, like that 4 a.m., 5 a.m., whenever she wakes up.
yeah.
So those parents' blessings are always there with you. And I
Correct.
genuinely I'm a heart, the family is supporting you, then there is nothing that you know you can get distracted by, or you can not achieve. Like, your
Correct.
parents should be on your side, and that is a very big support system. Like, because even in college, like, because when I was going to my fourth year, right, and
Yeah,
I didn't have any offer, and I used to have these discussions with my father that, what if I don't get a PPO from LinkedIn? because a lot recession is going on.
Yeah, yeah.
So what if I don't give PPO? What if I don't get selected in any company? And he was always like, it's okay, you can further study. You can you like there is no like
It's
this is
not the
not the
end
end
of
of
the
the
world.
world.
Yeah,
So that backup is very like there was no pressure that no you have to do something, you have to
correct.
earn, and we have spent so much money on you, this and that. So that thing really matters.
Yeah. And I feel like it everything is God's grace at the end of the day, because looking back a lot of things feel like why did they happen, but when you succeed, like you mentioned, right? Like if you when you didn't clear Google's interview twice, you might be thinking that why did I fail? But now if you look back, you feel like yeah, I got to the interview, my name was in the database, and that could be a reason why they shortlisted you directly for the interview. If you hadn't given it a try, you wouldn't have succeeded. And it's very important, like you mentioned, your dad being very supportive, because that is pretty much important, because when you're in pressure you don't study, or you a lot of times students they get into company with a lot of bad folks. When they're in such an environment, they feel like our friends are the only one that understand us, but I feel like in today's world it is very hard to trust anyone, given that given that how people are nowadays. You can see the news, it's always like someone murdered someone pushed someone off a cliff, all of that. So it is very important to have that family support in such an environment. So yeah. So any let's jump right to the rapid fire. We'll cover your Google experience in the rapid fire. So I'll put a question, whatever comes to your mind, feel free to answer that. So the first question is, what is the thing that you like the best about Google's Bangalore office? Like non-technical things, like maybe is it TT, or is it some sort of activity that you do over there which is really fun?
Best thing I would say, it's amenities like gym, cab, food, you name it and you have it. Massage chairs, spa. Like seriously, except work, you don't have to think about anything else. I don't have to think about my food. I
Yeah,
don't have to think about my fitness. I don't have to think about munching in between. Okay, I should take some
yeah,
snacks in office because I'll feel hungry. They
yeah,
have everything, and everything of top notch quality. So
correct.
literally, that is one thing that differentiates Google from a lot of companies I know. They also, the other companies also provide amenities, I'm not saying that, but the quality that Google has, I don't think so. At
Anyone
least
can match that,
as,
or a lot of
yeah,
companies cannot
मतलब
match that.
जितनी कंपनी मुझे पता है, मतलब जितने कंपनीज में मेरे फ्रेंड्स हैं, I have visited, it's unmatched. Like I can see the difference, I can tell. So
Yeah,
amenities is something which is just too good.
yeah. What is your biggest lesson that you have learned from failures? If you can summarize it in one line or something like that, any failure.
Move on fast. Move on fast. Don't get stuck onto it, because as I mentioned, my first failure was step internship,
Correct.
and I was stuck on that for like a week or two when I used to think like what went wrong, this and that. That should be a one day thing. Just do like an introspection. What went wrong? What were the questions? What could you have answered better? So just get done with it, move on fast so that you have more time to prepare for the next ones. Rejections are guaranteed. I still face rejections. I didn't get my promo for the like in the very first time. I faced rejection in that also, but that doesn't mean I'll stop working, or I'll take it too personally.
Yeah.
So just move on fast and get on to the other thing.
Yeah. What is the best piece of advice that your parent, either your father or mother, has given that has really stuck with you throughout your journey so far?
Be consistent. Like whatever you are doing, do it with all of your heart. Do it only if you are enjoying it. We are not pressurizing you to do something. You are not the bread earner of the family. It's specifically in the job term.
Yeah.
So like, if you are doing it, do your best. Give justice to your job.
Yeah. What is your favorite data structure and a data structure that you hate? There always is something, right? You're not good at it. You personally don't find the logic behind it.
I love graphs. Like I just love graphs. Like I can see everything happening,
Yeah.
visualize it, and I also see how we use it in like daily world problems. And this was one of the questions that in one of my interviews, the interviewer asked me that give me an example of a daily life problem in which you use graphs, because I said that I love graphs.
Yeah.
So that's what. And one I hate was trees, and that was mainly because of the recursion behind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I
Correct.
don't like the I don't like recursion at all. So again, I find it very difficult to visualize it. So
Yeah. Uh, what would you advise someone in the first year to do? Like the the best piece of advice you can give, maybe your first year self or anyone who's entered college.
meet a lot of people, talk to new people. I know there are introvert people who,
Yeah.
not like
Very
gel
sad.
in. So, yeah, but at least try your best. It's okay if you have a different personality, but okay, if you're not even communicating, then at least attend different webinars or societies. Just don't be in your bubble. Explore as much as you can, and please don't waste your first year. It's literally the gem of an year. You have so much time, but so many opportunities right in front of you. And I'm telling you, if I would not have applied for that women engineers program, I am not sure if I would have been in Google right now, because those 120 girls used to inspire me so much in COVID. Like, no one asked me to participate in hackathons or something,
Correct.
but
Mm.
I used to see them. I used to see their posts on LinkedIn, and that somewhere used to inspire me that why am I not doing this? I
Yeah.
should also try to learn or do something else. So yeah, don't waste
Yeah.
your first year.
Top three things to avoid in college.
Bad company, um, taking CGPA very lightly. Like, do
Yeah.
study for college exams,
College
but not
exams.
like you are just studying for college exams. And third, now when I look back, don't eat a lot of junk. I,
Yeah.
I don't know. I may sound very funny.
That is an important advice. Actually, it's
It's not healthy at all.
a genuine advice. Uh, what is the best thing that you like about LinkedIn? The experience at LinkedIn that you really like loved.
I lost you in between.
Yeah, I was saying,
So,
what is the best thing? Like, what is the best thing about LinkedIn? The number one thing that you can
uh,
recall.
people, like people, and also the culture. At least when I was there, the culture was really good, and I guess that is because of the people only, right?
Yeah,
Um, pe- so yeah, people, they were very supportive, helpful, and they never used to make you feel inferior. That is the best thing.
yeah. The number one red flag during the interview or resume selection, like the number one red flag in both.
Um, so in the interview, I personally feel like if you are not communicating at
Yeah,
all, or so there are two type of people who don't talk so much, but then they have solved the question in like 2 minutes. Great. So then the second red flag for me is like, um, if I'm giving you any hints and you are not picking it up, like you are
yeah.
not taking that feedback and you are just too adamant in like
Your approach
on
or
your opinion.
whatever you do. Yeah,
Yeah, so that was for the interview. And resume, I see a lot of resumes and they are very empty. Like, there are not a lot of good projects, no any such achievements, or something very basic that I've mentioned, um like completed these many questions on lead code, and that number is also very less, like 100.
yeah.
So either don't mention that or do it properly, because then it's not a highlight, it's a negative thing.
Correct.
So if you actually feel that okay, this is actually an achievement, then only mention it.
Yeah. And to wrap things up, what is the best day of your life, or maybe best day of your life at Google Ben, if you can maybe recall?
uh, so yeah, so it's actually a very different day, because I had a meet. So I was working on this project. It's not going to be a rapid fire answer. It's
Yeah,
going to be a
yeah.
short.
That's fine. That's fine.
So yeah, so I was working on this project, and I was in Google, like एक ही साल हुआ था गूगल में, and
Oh,
my manager gave me this project, and I was leading the project, right? I was the only person working from the backend team,
yeah,
and बहुत ज़्यादा coordination था with the UI folks, stakeholders, PMs, and the customer itself. So
yeah,
um, मैं वो करी थी, and then there was this one meeting in which the customer was also there. So we never used to have these meetings, at least I never had
Yeah,
such meetings in which I am directly communicating with the
with the
customer.
customer.
But since I was the only backend engineer and they wanted to ask some technical questions, so I was there in that meeting. And I was really nervous before that meeting because I didn't know their questions. I mean, I had an idea, but I didn't know like what more questions they can ask, and am I
Yeah,
even prepared to answer? Because that product was completely new for me as well. So so I was very nervous, but surprisingly, it went so well, and I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed asking, answering the customers directly, and that thank you, or like like they were just talking to me. It felt like, Shreeji, can you answer me this? Like I liked that attention, and also like I was able to answer them. So that gave me a lot of confidence. And then next day, when my manager validated it, like yeah, I did good. So validation and acknowledgement is something which I chase for. Like I don't know if it's right or
yeah,
wrong, but I live for that. If I'm doing something, I want acknowledgement for my work.
yeah,
So then your managers are very helpful, very supportive. So you try to be the best version and you try to improve. So like after that meeting, I was like, okay, I like even on my sick days, I used to attend meeting like if possible,
yeah.
so that I can help the team out.
Yeah, and
So yeah,
ending
that
things
was the
on
thing.
that note, I would like to first of all acknowledge you as well for today as well. It was a very good podcast. Hopefully, you had a fun time, but I learned a lot of things. It was good. We went into a lot of detail, and I think if anyone perseveres through this podcast, because people don't have a good attention span nowadays, but it will be very helpful because Sriji covered everything. This was my first time as well talking with Sriji on the podcast. Like I've only talked on LinkedIn pretty much before this, but it was great to have this conversation. I personally learned a lot, and I think the audience will definitely take a lot from this podcast. So thank you so much for coming on this podcast. It was real pleasure from my end to host you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I absolutely love being here and answering your questions. And yeah, anyone who wants to ask me more questions, like please feel free to connect